intent.
All right, here we go. All right, so thanks everybody for coming out. This is going to be the final skate park meeting where we show the final rendering that we all came up with. We took into consideration all the public comment from our last meeting. So, there was a lot of discussion on whether the A-frame was going to stay as a whole or cut in half, and that it might cut off some lines. So, honestly, once we collected all the papers and really read everything through, it seemed like it was split down the middle. So, I kind of feel like it would be better to get the pole jam into that A-frame as well. And then the long rail that goes across the whole centerpiece, we cut the one handrail off. I know there was, again, that was another one that was kind of split 50-50. But other than that, there was a few changes to the bowl. The bowl's waterfall now is like a little bit of a pump bump, so it's not just one elevation change to another. There's going to be, like a mound in between the shallow and the deep end. We also added, can we get a laser? We added a little Euro gap at the stair set as well. But ultimately, this is the concept that, came out with the pretty much landslide unanimous decision at the last meeting. So this is what the Lansdale Skate Park is going to look like. All right, and at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Al, and he's going to take you through the rest of the presentation with the site amenities and landscaping.
Thanks, Jesse. Forward is
This, and that's laser if you want to point stuff.
So this is forward?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. All right, thanks. As Jesse said, I'm here to really talk about the site improvements we would like to accomplish in addition to the skate park design. So the first slide I have here with me this evening is the overall site improvement plan. To orient yourself on the plan, the Williamson Court development is located to the top portion of the plan, 4 streets to the left. The unimproved 6th Avenue section is to the right, and Edgewood is down towards the lower part of the plan itself. There are some site improvements that we would like to propose as a part of this skate park improvement. I'll start off with the parking lot. The parking lot itself is being improved to the point where we're not reconstructing it, but we are going to basically restripe it and expand it ever so slightly to the north. And what that does is it takes a 60-car parking lot and makes it an 80-car parking lot, as well as provides two-way traffic. Right now, there's only one-way traffic through most of it, and it has a very odd arrangement. And we've provided some green space along 4th Avenue, where currently the parking lot goes right up to the sidewalk, as well as provided some handicap parking directly adjacent to where the proposed skate park is. To orient yourself also, the gray area in the center is the skate park location. The location itself has not changed, I think, since the prior meetings. It's always been in that location. We're equidistant pretty much from the 4th Avenue residence to the 6th Avenue residence, and approximately 250 feet away from the residences to the north, or the Williamson Court residences. One of the other improvements we are also proposing is the relocation of the ball field that is currently in the northern part of the site. Reason being is that all the improvements that we are proposing are going to infringe upon the outfield, and we don't want to have a conflict between skateboarders and baseballs being shot out into the outfield. So we have relocated the ball field directly adjacent to the existing tennis courts. And it creates a nice little active recreation area within this portion of the park. We have the 2 ball fields, the tennis court and the basketball court, all on the same side of the park. One other component we are also talking about is stormwater management. As a part of the municipal code, we are required to manage stormwater as a part of this project. We are proposing approximately 8,500 square feet of impervious surface, that being concrete surface for the skate park. So we have 2 concepts I'd like to kind of present to you tonight and get some feedback on. The first one is a potential stormwater management detention area within the northern part of the site. And we're calling it a detention area because all it is a slight depression in the landscape. It's approximately 15,000 square feet in size, but it's only going to be a foot deep from our projections. But the nice thing about that is we've taken into consideration some of the problems, I guess, that came out of the last meeting, where that there is a known flooding issue, I guess, in the upper right-hand corner of the property. So it's our goal as a part of this concept to manage not only the stormwater coming off of a large percentage of the skate park, but also the entire parking lot area, which is approximately 30,000 square feet. So we would basically manage all that volume within that detention basin and slowly release it over time. The alternative design is to do what we're calling a rain garden, and that's this light, kind of grayish blue area directly adjacent to the playground. The rain garden itself would be a little bit deeper, about 3 to 4 feet in depth, and that would manage all the stormwater coming off of the parking lot. Kind of as a trade-off. We would basically manage the entire 30,000 square feet, but then connect all the drain inlets from the skate park to either an inlet here at 6th Avenue or an inlet at the end of the swale at the edge of Williamson Court. So some of the improvements associated with the skate park itself, again, the gray area depicts the location of the skate park, really is entailing buffer plantings. We're proposing buffer plantings around the entire perimeter, but one of the components of construction, as we excavate and construct not only the skate park, but also the rain gardens or the detention basin, we're going to have an excess of fill. So we don't want to truck that off-site, so one of the concepts is, as you can see in the light green areas that surround the actual skate park, are earthen berms. We're proposing about a 3 to 4 foot high earthen berm around the entire perimeter of the skate park. To the north along Williamson Court, as well as to the east along the 6th Avenue area and the pool complex. The primary entrances to the park will be this kind of beigeish color here. That would be the handicap parking spaces are here. The beige entryway would come into the northern part of the park, as well as provide an access to the playground area. Within the northern part of the skate park, we are proposing what we call a bleacher viewing area. I know it's the intent, I think, of at least Carl's department to have events here maybe once or twice a year. And the idea would be to have some bleachers for the patrons of the park to actually view the event that's occurring, with the primary entrance occurring on the southern part of the skate park. The entrance there, which is very colorful, is meant to be an imprinted asphalt paving that would be colorized in a very decorative color. There would be what we call a sinuous wall, and I'll show you some images about this later, but there would be a sinuous wall along this entire length that would meander along the length of that asphalt trail, providing little pockets for kids to drop off their book bags or their bikes or whatever it is they have. And it's also providing space for them to congregate if they wanted to before and after they were skating. Over top of that, there is a series of triangles that you see on the plan. The triangles are actually sun sails as a way of providing shade for the users of the park, so that way they're not out in the blazing sun throughout all the summer. We do have some before and after photographs. We took some photographs of the park at 3 strategic locations. The first one being at 6th Street. The skate park itself is generally going to be located, if I get the pointer to work, right here. So this is the before image, and this is the after image. You can see the raised berming underneath the trees. The trees themselves, we're showing them at a 10-year growth, and I'll talk a little bit about the trees a little bit later, but the trees we've selected are somewhat fast-growing at an early age, with the intent of getting some quick growth so that way we can get a fairly mature tree within, say, 5 to 6 years. The second image is from Williamson Court. The skate park itself is going to be directly in front of this existing concrete trail, right in front of the fence in the distance of the pool. And there's 2 levels of buffer within this area. I failed to talk about the 1 level earlier on, but we are providing a buffer not only on top of the berm, but also along the property line. So there will be some plantings, as you can see in the foreground, with the skate park itself being buffered in the distance with some additional evergreens and trees. And the final view is off of Edgewood Avenue. This is looking into the skate park from Edgewood Lane, right across the basketball court. And the skate park would be here in the distance beyond the fence of the pool area. And this is the after photograph, showing you the buffer plantings, again, surrounding the skate park, but also in the foreground we are proposing some additional buffering that will lessen the impact of the skate park itself to the surrounding neighbors. We are also showing a trail connection. This is one thing that we had talked about as a future connection to 5th Street and Edgewood. as a way to get pedestrians down from that portion of the borough into the park itself, not only into the skate park, but also into the park. And that's what's shown here, the meandering trail around the basketball courts. So these are some of the materials I just talked about. The plantings themselves, these are the shade trees. We tried to pick trees that are wet-loving and clay soil-loving. We picked the thornless honey locust, which has a nice yellow color, as well as our native red maple, which they both tend to grow fairly quickly, and they do love the wet soils that exist here. And we've also picked some understory flowering trees to provide some accents. These are also native, serviceberry and eastern redbud, very colorful throughout the throughout the spring season, and will also help with aiding of taking up stormwater that flows across the site as well. And these are the evergreens that we are selecting, the Austrian pine as well as the Norway spruce. The Norway spruce itself is somewhat wet tolerant, and it does tend to grow up to a foot a year within a 10-year period. It does grow a lot slower as it gets older, but the intent is to get initial quick growth and allow it to grow slower as it ages on. The two stormwater basins that we had discussed, one option is a rain garden, the other option is a shallow detention basin. The rain garden itself would be heavily planted with either herbaceous plants and trees or a wildflower seed mix. And the surface detention basin that's only a foot deep, this one here is approximately 3 to 4 feet deep. We would be much shallower than this. Would be just simple mown grass, so it would look exactly like the surrounding recreation fields that exist adjacent to it. Here's the serpentine wall. It would be a precast concrete paver, but instead of the lawn that you see here, we would have an actual asphalt paving that would be imprinted and colorized, and the sun sails that would extend over top of the paving. And this is the paving product that we were talking about at the main entrance. It would be an imprinted asphalt. Comes in a multitude of colors as well as a multitude of designs, so we can work through the designs and the colors as we get involved in the construction drawings. And one final item is lighting. We are not intending to light the entire skate park. However, there are 2 existing utility poles on the site. One is directly behind the shed, the storage shed that's off the parking lot, and another one exists between the parking area and the playground. So it's our intent to put 2 floodlights, one on each pole, as a way to illuminate the skate park at night for safety and security. It's not the intent to allow users to use the skate park in the evening. It's mainly intended so that the police can actually see if anybody's in there and present at the skate park itself. And the final item tonight is the schedule. We have our final public meeting tonight, being the 22nd, but we also have 2 meetings that are open to the public. One will be at the Planning Commission meeting. That'll be on the 29th of January. But then also at the Park and Rec Committee meeting on the 7th of February. And then our final presentation of the construction drawings, including everything here you see tonight, will be to Borough Council on the 21st, with the intent of making our submission to the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources on the 26th of February. That gives us a goal of starting construction in early June and completing the project in early September, which is at this point a 90-day construction schedule. So I'd like to open the floor at this point to any questions of Jesse or myself or even Carl.